All right. I told you we were going to critique Judaism and Islam together because of their many similarities. And did I was I able to post that video of do Christians and Muslims worship the same God for you? I couldn't remember.
I don't think so. I haven't seen it.
Okay. I think I have to get that one downloaded. But anyways, before I do the critique, I wanted to read you some from Huffies, and I know it's a mirror, but and this is called The Gift, Poems by Huffies, the great Sufi master. And this is probably the most beloved poet of Iran or Persia. And it just such beauty. And even though it's coming from a Muslim, very devout Muslim perspective, you'll see as I read some of these to you, it's highly transferable to Jews or Christians. If God invited you to a party. If God invited you to a party and said, everyone in the ballroom tonight will be my special guest, how would you then treat them when you arrived? Indeed, indeed. And Hafiz knows there is no one in this world who is not upon his jeweled dance floor. And I love that. It's kind of like echoing the Christian and Jewish sentiment of being made in the image of God. I mean, God specifically made everyone, and how dare us treat other people with disdain? They are the guest of God. He has invited us all. Woo! Good stuff, Hafiz. I'm going to save this one for last. Everywhere. Running through the streets screaming, throwing rocks through windows, using my head to ring great bells, pulling out my hair, tearing off my clothes, tying everything I own to a stick and setting it on fire. What else can Hafiz do tonight to celebrate the madness, the joy of seeing God everywhere? Oh, Hafiz. Stop calling me a pregnant woman. My master once entered a phase that whenever I would see him, he would say, Hafiz, how did you ever become a pregnant woman? And I would reply, Dear Attar, you must be speaking the truth, but all of what you say is a mystery to me. Many months passed by in his blessed company, but one day I lost my patience upon hearing that odd refrain and blurted out, Stop calling me a pregnant woman. And Attar replied, Someday, my sweet Hafiz, all the nonsense in your brain will dry up like a stagnant pool of water beneath the sun. Though if you want to know the truth, I can so clearly see that God has made love with you, and the whole universe is germinating inside your belly, and wonderful worlds, such enlightening worlds, will take birth from you and be cradled against 1,000 hearts. Stop calling me a pregnant woman. Okay, couple more. Who will feed my cat? I will need someone to feed my cat when I leave this world. Though my cat is not ordinary. She only has 3 paws. Fire, air, and a watcher. Oh, I told you this one, but I'm going to say it again because it's my favorite. 2 giant fat people. God and I have become like 2 giant fat people living in a tiny boat. We can't keep bumping into each other and can't stop laughing. I just love the intimacy Hafiz has with God. So you see how different this is from other types of Islam or even Judaism. And then the last one, which this is called When I Want to Kiss God. When no one is looking, I swallow deserts and clouds and chew on mountains knowing they are sweet bones. When no one is looking, and I want to kiss God, I just lift my own hand to my mouth. And so remember, he is not blaspheming. He is not claiming he is God. In the Sufi tradition, this annihilation of the self, if you're able to completely dissipate your own ego, all that remains is God. And so you truly become like a Theotokos, a God-bearer as you travel through the world. So I gave you kind of the spectrum of Sufis. You got like the snake handling Sufis, the chewing on broken glass Sufis, and these Sufis that are in just ecstatic love fest with God. They just want to be with God all the time. And I do love the Sufis. It makes me at least want to pay some attention to the beauty that is in Islam. But as far as critiquing Islam and Judaism, both of them really come down to the law. It's a law-based system. Yes, every surah in the Quran starts with all of the compassionate, the merciful, and Muslims are counting on the compassion and mercy of God to save them. I get it. Same with the Jews. But they are bound to this incredibly profound workout. If you've looked at Sharia law, or if you've looked at the Old Testament Mosaic law, it is just exhausting. The Jews had over 613 laws. And I don't know how many are in the Sharia, but I'm sure it's comparable, if not even more so. And no one has ever been saved or justified by the law. The only person who could have been didn't need to be, because he lived a perfect life. And that, of course, was, I believe, was Jesus Christ. And so we're really pitting and in that video, I presented for the faculty several years ago about, do Christians and Muslims and even Jews, we can throw in, worship the same God? And I would say from a comparative religious perspective, absolutely yes. When we look at the traits and qualities of Allah and Yahweh and God, that the English or Anglo-Saxon word for that being we're referring to, it's pretty much the same qualities. I don't really have time, but if you want to Google or look at it, or if you still need a project, Al-Ghazali and others have commentated on the 99 beautiful names of God. And just like the Buddhas have their malas, their prayer beads, Muslims also have prayer beads. And guess how many they have? 99, where they go through and they recite and they meditate on the beautiful names of God. I think that's a wonderful, beautiful, practical application. I also love the call to prayer, the communal, the entire country that is following Islam is going to be on that same pattern. I mean, can you imagine how profound that is? You see the effect of like the Gregorian calendar on the West with the days of the week and Sunday and all of that. But imagine if you were called to pray 5 times a day. And even if you weren't devout, it would just permeate the culture. Everything stops because this is God's time, God's moment, and we revere him. So I think there's much we can take from Judaism and Islam, especially in their orthopraxy. Like I mentioned before, both Judaism and Islam are much more orthopraxic than orthodoxic. Not that they don't care about proper theology or orthodoxy, but they're really focused on the doing part as opposed to the believing or knowledge intellectual part. And once again, that relates back to because it's a works-based system. And any questions anyone has on me before we pivot to Christianity? All right. Once again, if you want to share the gospel with Jews or Muslims, they have had a long history of hostility with Christianity, as you can imagine. And so you're going to have to start by building relationships and getting to know them as people, as individuals, getting to know their lives, what they believe, what kind of Jew are they, what kind of Muslim are they, right? Because the spectrum is huge. And I guarantee you, I would really recommend you, if you've never read the Tanakh, the Old Testament, or the Quran, to read it. And not just as an apologetic tool, but to actually show interest and that you care about someone else's sacred writings and beliefs. And every Muslim I've ever talked to, and to truly read the Quran, you have to read it in Arabic because it can't be translated, because you see the problems in the English Bible or the Bible with all the different translations, because each translation brings with it an interpretation. And so, but I do have a copy of the Quran which has English on one side and the Arabic on the other. And even though I don't read Arabic, that's as close as I could get. But the Muslims I've talked to were always kind of taken by that, and much more willing to talk to me. And it allowed me to ask better questions and to kind of find out where they were and to kind of answer their concerns. And for many Jews and Muslims, they don't really even understand Christian theology. They certainly don't understand the concept of the Trinity. Many Muslims think the Christian Trinity is Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. And that's because when you go into a lot of Catholic or Eastern Orthodox churches, those are the images or icons being highlighted. And so it would be, for a visitor, someone not familiar with Christian theology or faith, it would be easy to construe that that was the Trinity. And you can imagine how offensive that is to both Jews and Muslims, right? All right. I'm going to stop this one and we're going to start Christianity.